that we are violent, Lord, vulgar animal.
Oh Lord, oh Lord.
And it's we who say we intelligent.
Oh Lord, oh Lord.
We superior, we civilize and we wise. Yet we making all kind of bomb, blowing up everyone, killing one another with gun. And who ain't got guns? Use knives. Lord, I say that the time has come for us to get on our knees and lift our head to the trees, to the very sky above you.
Oh Lord, oh Lord.
And let there be happiness in our soul.
Oh Lord, oh Lord.
Let there be love, not hate in our world. Oh, for the day when He come down in all His glory and say, let there be peace on all them fighting seas. Peace, peace, peace. Everybody shouting peace. Oh Lord, love and happiness is what we need. No one will stretch that loving hand. Everybody sitting down on us, watching the other man. While war and crime and violence gone rampant in every land.
Oh Lord, oh Lord.
We say He made us above the animal.
Oh Lord, oh Lord.
Destiny to mold the galaxies in our hands. But dog and pussy tag fight, they living and unite. No animal kill for spite. Only we humans want and live, destroy lives. Lord, I say that the time has come for us to get on our knees and lift our head to the trees, to the very sky above you.
Oh Lord, oh Lord.
And let there be happiness in our soul.
Oh Lord, oh Lord.
Let there be love, not hate in our world. Oh, for the day when He come down in all His glory and say, let there be peace on all them fighting seas. Female liberation. Even women want their freedom. Oh yeah. Rioting demonstrations. Where will this end? If it keeps on, I can only visualize annihilation. With them guns and bombs and constant improvements and modernized weapons.
Oh Lord, oh Lord.
Give us eyes to see and ears to hear.
Oh Lord, oh Lord.
Over the eyes perceive. Lord, are trembling in fear. Bombs falling from the air, shooting everywhere. Rebellion far and near. And every day is more talk about revolution here. Lord, I say that the time has come for us to get on our knees and lift our head to the trees, to the very, very sky above you.
Oh Lord, oh Lord.
Let there be happiness in our soul.
Oh Lord, oh Lord.
Let there be love, not hate in our world. Oh, for the day when He come down in all His glory and say, let there be peace on all them fighting seas. Power madness has come. Every land in raw confusion. Poverty and starvation lying in the street, hand in hand with man, grasping at the throats of the poorer one, pounding and grinding him into oblivion.
Oh Lord, oh Lord.
Enriching justice, greed and vengeance.
Oh Lord, oh Lord.
Corruption and treachery, so very eminent, is the order of the day. You cannot get away, no matter what you do or say, unless we need and let the nation heal. Lord, I say that the time has come for us to get on our knees and lift our head to the trees, to the very sky above you.
Oh Lord, oh Lord.
Let there be happiness in our soul.
Oh Lord, oh Lord.
Let there be love, not hate in our world. Oh, for the day when He come down in all His glory and say, let there be peace and all them fighting seas. Saiton.
Yes, sound of the man, brother Emmanuel there. The man, King Shorty, short shirt out of the island there of Antigua. I'm DJ Mauricio, and I'm coming to you again, live and direct here from my bunker in the Republic of St. Paul, St. Kitts. Yes, it's a bit raining on the outside, little drizzle, cool down the place. I welcome that kind of weather. Well, this evening, my online viewers, I'm coming to you with a continuation of last week's podcast. There's a lot to speak about this evening. There's a lot to speak about. This past Monday, my phone went hot with the amount of messages coming in from across the globe, America, Canada, UK, locally and regionally, asking me what's going on with this case regards with Brother Philippe Martinez and the SK government and its people. So I'm going to get into that conversation in a bit this evening. But before we do all of that, I know there might be many of you online viewers might be just scrolling through the web and running into this podcast and wondering what this is all about. So let me just give a quick ad. I want a quick clip here that for those of you who might be wondering, you will know what this podcast is all about.
Wednesday evenings are heating up. Log on to DJ Mauricio's Facebook Live broadcast every Wednesday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. It's a frank and candid exploration into the social, cultural, political, and economic issues affecting our federation. And just in case you missed it, you can also catch the broadcast on his YouTube channel, DJ Mauricio. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube and smash that bell. You will be notified whenever he goes live. DJ Mauricio, every Wednesday evening, Facebook 6 to 8 p.m. or thereafter on his YouTube channel, DJ Mauricio. Log on.
Yes, you heard it right. Every Wednesday evening, 6 to 8 p.m. local time, right here at the DJ Mauritius Experience, bringing you the real deal, the facts and not fiction. Now let's take a quick run across to the island of Nevis and hear what my boy Carbo have to tell us about his delicious food on that side.
Cabo's, located at Fountain Village in Nevis, is the go-to spot for your Saturday treats. Tantalize your taste buds with his delectable Cabo's Delicacy Goat Water. Or, if you prefer some soul food, then Cabo's Punji and Fish is definitely the way to go. Call ahead and reserve at 869-663-9694. Then make your way over to Cabo's and enjoy the vibrant atmosphere while you savor your delicacy. Cabo's, we are not changing, we are only improving.
Food all over, food all over. You got the food all over.
Yes, Brother Carbo has the food all over there in Queen City, Nevis. So check out Carbo, let him know DJ Mauritius sent you. Now let's take a quick listen to Sister Carmen of Carmen Caterers.
Girl Sandra, you know where you can find nice fresh local food 7 days a week, one provision and all kind of thing. Girl, where? Right down there by Shellings, by Carmen Catering Services. Girl, she opposite the bus stop. Girl, and she also cater for weddings, parties, anything you want to cater for, funeral and all. Girl, and trust me, you're gonna enjoy the food. And she also selling bites and Sundays. Opposite the car shop, right down the main road. Girl, you could call 665-1494 or 663-6005 to order your food or go and pick up your food. Girl, the food that is finger licking and you get your money worth. You ain't want nothing better than that.
For sure, Sister Carmen have some lovely food there. Had some lovely crushed green bananas earlier, some fish, and a little mackerel. Lovely lunch. So I want to thank Carmen as usual for taking care of the DJ when it comes to lunchtime. I also want to big up the folks over there at Elfrido's, Brother Lloyd and his team, for taking care of the DJ with his dinner. Well, I got a little surprise for you guys today. I stopped by Alfredo's on my way home to get my dinner, and I decided to drop a little quiz at the Alfredo's. So, for you online viewers, first I'm telling you all, if you have not been to Alfredo's for lunch, dinner for days very early. They open from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday to Saturday. I mean, they're not open on Mondays, Tuesdays to Saturdays. So you got to get there early, and the food are very fast. So I told my boy Lloyd, I am going to have someone stop by because I'm trying out something this evening. The first person that can go across to Alfredo's in person and tell Lloyd what the DJ had for dinner today, I'll pay for the same dinner for them. So take a trip across to Alfredo's, let them know you heard the DJ make a promise. They will call me to confirm whether or not you're a winner. So you cannot just come and tell me you win a dinner. And you also have to tell Lloyd when Alfredo's open. When did they open their doors? And what the DJ had for dinner today. So you go across there, let Mr. Lloyd know you heard it on the DJ Mari Show Experience, and you come to make a guess. And you cannot guess 3-4 times in one guess per person. And you have a free dinner or a free lunch on the DJ. Now let's stand by for Brother Daniel over there at the Hydroform.
Welcome to Strategies for Business Success, right here on 2020visionradio.com and on 102.1 FM with business development advocate Daniel Arthurton. Each week, Danny will build on a foundation to ensure your success in business. Being in business can be daunting, and Strategies for Business Success can help you avoid the pitfalls. Join Danny right here on 2020visionradio.com, on 102.1 FM, and on your other social media platforms every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. That's right, Tuesday evenings at 7 p.m. The time and place for your business dreams to come true.
Yes, you heard it here, what Brother Daddy do. And my good folks, it's very hot these days. So, I have to have my vitamin from the good water people in Main Street, Newton Ground Sink. It's the Island Purified Water. Without this water, the DJ will not be able to make it through my session that evening. So I want to big up Brother Powell and his team there at the Island Purified Water for keeping the DJ hydrated when he's in the Federation. Now let's go across to the Virgin Islands, St. Thomas to be exact, and hear my boy, Brother Malvin Gums of the Spectrum Band have to say about the DJ.
Hey, this is Malvern from Spectrum Band, and you're listening to DJ Marisha, playing you the best in Caribbean music.
You got that?
Hey, this is Malvern from Spectrum Band, and you're locked into DJ Marisha. Keep it locked.
Right there. Now, my good people, we have so much to discuss this evening, so I don't want to waste too much time. So let's jump straight into Brother Dwyer Astafan's commentary for this evening. Wednesday, March 26th. I think it's the last Wednesday of the month, and it's going to be a bomber this evening. We're going to have a ball here, and I encourage your online viewers' engagement. So stand by for G.A. Dwyer Astafan's commentary.
Greetings. A number of you have asked me to discuss this week the matter of the judicial review case taken by MSR Media against the government in relation to the Galaxy Jail project, the applications. I will deal with it next week, God willing. But today, we have to continue with Frigate Bay. While we've been discussing that proposal to build a hotel or whatever it is to be at the golf course at Frigate Bay, another problem seems to have arisen at the same Frigate Bay. And I think I made passing reference to it some weeks ago. Have you observed over there anything that might cause you concern other than the cleared vegetation at the site of the proposed hotel or whatever that is intended to be? Have you observed anything that might cause you concern? Well, at the third roundabout leading to Timothy Beach, there is a storm drain which opens into a long open trench on the Frigate Bay lawn, an area where little children play and families, friends, and lovers play as well. Over the past 2 or 3 months, there has not been much rain in the Frigate Bay area. Yet, the trench to which I refer was filled with a combination of liquid and solid matter. This became a concern for me, so I consulted an expert. The expert visited the site and told me that he was 100% convinced that what was in the trench was sewage. The thought of sewage floating around anywhere in our country is upsetting. In fact, it is angering, and perhaps worse so, if this is happening at a place where children and families and people generally gather in their numbers for one purpose or the other. Problems, concern. So I have to ask, how did this happen? Where did this sewage come from? And I'm going by the expert. What caused it to escape? And why was it not properly processed and rendered safe? What caused it to end up in the trench on the Frigate Bay lawn? Commercial projects and homes in Frigate Bay have to connect to a sewage system. Every project, whether it is residential or commercial, has to satisfy the authorities that the project has adequate sewage disposal arrangements, that the sewage system is adequate to meet the needs of the project. And all of this has to be done before the work on the project starts. And the authorities have to continue to be vigilant during the course of construction. And later, open sewage on the surface is not only ugly and unpleasantly smelly, it is also extremely unhealthy and can do tons of damage. So I'm only saying if the drawings were inadequate, we have a problem. Sewage drawings. I'm not saying the drawings were inadequate in this regard or any other regard. I'm saying if they were inadequate, then why and how were they approved in the first place by the Development Control and Planning Board? Further, even if the drawings were adequate, but the work on the project was not done to the standard set on the drawings, then we also have a problem. And we'll have to ask the Development Control and Planning Board to ask them if they monitored and certified the work on the project during the course of construction, and if they cleared it for use after the end of the work. And if not, why not? I'm told that until now, the Development Control and Planning Board has concentrated more on the architectural side of project applications than on the environmental side. That's not only bad, it is incredible to hear somebody say that. And I was told that by somebody in an authority position. And if I, a frail old man, untrained in these things, could from the street see this thing in the trench, only to see and smell something unpleasant, something which the expert told me was sewage, and which constituted a potentially serious threat to the use and enjoyment of that area by our children and by people generally, and a threat to health and social and economic activity in the Frigate Bay area generally. If I could take it upon myself to check this out and to consult with an expert, then how come nobody with a trained eye, nobody with an obligation as part of their duties in their job, earning a salary out of your money, whether he or she is employed at the Frigate Bay Development Corporation, the Development Control and Planning Board, the Ministry of Environment, or the Ministry of Health? How come none of them spotted it and took remedial action? How come it took weeks before somebody went there and sucked up the sewage? That's what happened, which leads to another question. If the problem has not yet been solved, where is the sewage now going? I would expect that if the cause of this problem arose in any business enterprise in the area, and I'm not saying it is, but if it arose, that the problems with that business would be quickly and efficiently remedied and the environment restored to health and good use. I would expect that is what would happen, and remedial measures could include, depending on the gravity of the situation, an already serious situation, could include closing down the facility until the road is clear. We're talking about health and aesthetics and the enjoyment of our open spaces. This is a serious matter. And as I speak, I reflect on the fact that some of us in this country like to interpret commentary like what I'm giving now as a personal attack on somebody, as a grudge. But those same people would never consider that exposed sewage in public spaces can be interpreted and are as personal attacks on them, the people of this country, including those who misinterpret the commentaries. And I would never say that the failure of public sector workers, especially in sensitive areas like this, to do their jobs to protect our people, their failure to do that can also be viewed as a personal attack on all of the people of the country. We love to shoot the messenger, including the messenger whose message could save the very lives of the critics. It's amazing how people can be so smart that they become so spiteful and stupid. With respect. And to such people I ask, what should I say? And let me set the record clear now. I did inform certain persons in authority and sent them video footage which I myself took. And I think it is unfortunate that not a word on this has come from any governmental authority. This low level of service and responsibility is not acceptable. And it causes people who care about life, health, and safety to wonder how widespread this carelessness is. If we want to become a truly sustainable island state, we cannot operate with this incompetence and irresponsibility and whatever else accompanies it. And this also makes me worry about the proposed hotel at Friars Bay over the hill in a low-lying and extremely environmentally fragile area. I look forward to seeing what the environmental impact assessment for that Friars Bay project says. I've written to the Development Control and Planning Board to get information, and I'm yet to hear back from them. Still waiting. It also makes me worry about this ridiculous hotel project that is being proposed for the golf course at Frigate Bay, opposite the Marriott taxi stand. I'm told that persons who are supportive of the developers are saying that this project is a done deal, that decision makers are just playing me, and that no amount of noise by me or anybody else can stop it. And they're waiting for you all to forget it. 9 days on to the next story. They may be making a big mistake. This is not about me. It's about our country. About our pretty country, which the Honorable Marcus Garvey told us in 1937 was our Garden of Eden, and which he told us to take good care of. And this is about us knowing the difference between development and destruction, and about us acting with ironclad determination to ensure that it is development and not destruction that takes place upon our precious land. We've had enough destruction forced down our throats in the name of development. Look around the island, you see. A lot of people have gone away with millions of dollars. And what we end up with, the same thing that is floating around. The would-be developer of this hotel on the golf course has power and influence over what happens at Sugar Bay Club. That has been a hotel that has served the community and the economy for a long time. It is in need of an upgrade. Go over there and upgrade and build a lovely thing. Leave the people's golf course alone. We have to stop allowing our governments and ourselves to be submissive, desperate, and impotent in dealing with the wealthy. Give everybody a fair deal and don't allow anybody to play you. We insist on development and we reject destruction. But that isn't happening. What is happening is that the hawks keep eating the pigeons. Suppose this was an acceptable project and in the best interest of the country. And suppose that it was our taxi and tour operators grouped together, or our contractors grouped together, or our farmers and fishers, or a group of bright young men and women from humble beginnings who want to become entrepreneurs and who came together to do this development. If it was acceptable, do you think they would be given the chance? What about Carl Walwyn, just close by, a local, with Fairways, the Fairways development? He's been made to hang on for years. That development underway, and I would hope that the standards would be high, in standards presented to him by the planning authorities, and I'm sure he will comply. But that development underway could have injected some serious money and economic activity into the country. Suppose he was the one applying for this project, or the taxi drivers, or some young entrepreneurs, or our farmers or contractors. Do you think they would have been given the chance? Now, some of you may argue that our people, generally speaking, are not sufficiently enterprising, but you find that everywhere. If people's history is not built on personal enterprise, we have to help to create a new culture of personal enterprise. And it is part of the government's responsibility to help to lift and guide our people to being entrepreneurs and to prosperity and ownership and empowerment. Who is encouraging our young people to go into these things? Who is speaking to our young people? We have a lot of bright, visionary entrepreneurs in these two islands. Bright. They need guidance. They need support. They will end up with nothing. And one or two people will end up with everything. That's not right. The word we use in St. Kitts, tutu, meaning feces. Literal and figurative, tutu is stinking up the place. And people need to roll up their sleeves, take off their fancy attire, take off their designer shades, stop walking around town in the hot sun in a three-piece suit and a fancy this with a Gucci bag or whatever it is. You work for them, they're yours, fine. Roll up your sleeves, bend your back, and help the people of this country and do it right. Too much slackness, too much recklessness, and too much of too much of that other thing we need to eradicate. Thank you.
Yes, my good people. Yes, my good people. That is the commentary for today, Wednesday, 26th March, by the man G.A. Dwyer Astafan. As you can see, Dwyer is talking shit this evening. I'm still waiting for him to talk about the situation with the healthcare system, and we can't tell words. What I can't tell Dwyer, what he should say. However, I appreciate him continue to come weekly and give us some updates on this issue. At this time, I want to take some time out to say thanks to all individuals, the online viewers that log on weekly and listen to this podcast. I welcome the feedback and conversation from everyone. We may disagree on my approach and some topics, however, it does not mean that they are untrue. We just might not like to hear the truth, because I understand the truth hurts. Some people support a particular party and they have to defend their party or a narrative. I'm not here to defend party. I'm here to represent the federation of this great nation and its people. As I said last week, is GCC, God, Country, Citizen. That is what I do. So for those of you who may come here and expect me to be defending politicians, you're looking at the wrong podcast. I'm here for the people. I'm here for the country. Now, the good song said, do we stand up and see our country dying and never let a helping hand? My response to that question is no. I will always lend a helping hand. I recall the saying that it takes a village to raise a child. That's how I was raised. I spoke about kids fighting in school and video recordings circulating on social media last week and otherwise. The situation occurred again. Actually, the same day I was here having this conversation, I didn't even realize that a family member of mine had some kind of situation with a fight in school. I found out the next morning and I said, look at it, I spoke about this thing last night and it's there again. This situation that happened with this teacher this week again bring another concern, because it's not just kids fighting with kids now. There's a situation with a teacher, again, that is circulating. I do not want to lament on that situation because I don't have the facts. I'm hearing some distorted information on both sides. I do not know why the teacher was recording his class. I do not know what occurred, so I will not get into that conversation. Too much conversation are taking place online by our citizens around the globe without having the facts, and it's creating a lot of confusion. So I'm asking you bloggers, whether you're TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, whatever media that you use, let's get the facts before we start spewing misinformation out there. It is not good for our Bill of Federation. I got a call last Thursday morning. Actually, I got a message, a WhatsApp message, telling me that there was some not WhatsApp, but email message read by Mr. Ian Patches Liebert from some folks that sent in some congratulatory remarks on my performance here on a Wednesday evening, which was positive, and I appreciate that. However, Monday passed, this Monday, I also got a call that there was a gentleman that called in on the Patchy show and making some statements such as the DJ trying to tell the government how to run the country and whatever. I was told that Patchy shut him down and whatever. But people have a right to their opinion. All of us are citizens. Just as I have a right to come here and speak and give my opinion weekly, any citizen have a right to give their opinion. However, if I say something on this podcast, going to another podcast to discuss what I say really does not help in any way. You have a concern, come here. Send me a message. I'll send you the link. You come on and let's have a conversation, because what I speak here is honest, outright opinions of what I am seeing and what my experience is. Doesn't mean that everyone will agree with me. So I said to that caller, I appreciate your concern. I appreciate what you said. You voice your opinion, but I can tell you that you are dead wrong with your assessment. And I look forward to having a conversation with you, whether you want to have it privately on this podcast or otherwise. I'll be happy to explain to you what I was saying, because it is very simple. It takes a village to raise a child, and I want to believe that the government cannot do it on their own. The teachers cannot do it on their own. Some of these kids, their parents basically cannot control them at home. And I believe citizens with different experience, different age group that might have a different way to approach things. If we go to these schools and have a conversation with these kids, I think it may help. I could be wrong. If I am wrong, I stand wrong, but I would also like to try everything. My grandmother and my grandfather taught me nothing beat a trial, but a failure. So to that caller, when you're going to be saying people are not Christian and whatever, I don't think you're in a position to judge anyone whether they are Christian or not. I don't call myself a Christian because I always hear the term born again Christian. I attended church regularly as a young boy coming up. My grandfather goes to the Catholic church in Sandy Point, which means I have to go to church with him early morning. My grandmother attended the Anglican church in St. Paul's. So from the Catholic church in Sandy Point, I come to the St. Paul's Anglican church, I have to go to Sunday school and then to church, or sometimes vice versa, to church and then Sunday school. So I came up in the church system, and look at how I turn out. So whether you want to look at me as a negative force or a positive force is neither here or there for me. I live my life through the eyes of God and myself, and I have family and friends and my little baby girl to keep on the right track. So I try to do the right thing and try to be honest with everyone. If we have a different opinion, a different approach, I welcome the conversation. Like, people meet me all the time on the street and try to have a conversation, and I do engage. I'm very easy to speak to. Now, my good people, down to the meat of the matter. Let me just give some background, because this evening I had to send a SOS Monday across to Mr. Philippe Martinez to see if I can have a little chat with him after I get those messages that a case was withdrawn by him, forcefully withdrawn by the judge. They said the judge forced him to withdraw his case and whatever. And with the little history I have with this particular case, I don't think that Mr. Martinez would just withdraw a case like that without having some good reason. So I have invited Mr. Martinez to come this evening and have a chat with me. So share the live. For those folks who get upset, I was upset from the last interview on the 18th of December, 2024. You might even more upset today, because I can see Mr. Martinez is online. I will invite him on screen in a bit, and the conversation will take place. And I welcome the comments and the conversation, because I ensure that Mr. Martinez sent me some supporting documents for our conversation, because I love to do a quick fact check when I'm having a conversation with someone like Mr. Martinez, because this is a very sensitive matter, and I don't want to be misleading to the general public as some people have been. So, Mr. Martinez, if you can hear me, can you please drop in? And I don't think you need to even introduce yourself. I think everybody know that you're a superstar around the globe. So I would just say, Mr. Martinez, welcome. And I'm going to start off with a very straightforward number one question. I would like to know, this messages I'm getting on Monday saying that the judicial review was withdrawn by yourself. Tell the people about that.
How are you? Can you hear me?
I'm hearing loud and clear.
Thank you very much. First of all, thank you for, reaching out to me and ask me to clarify what's going on for your audience. As you know, I've been silent since December. And I'm going to respond to your question, of course. But before that, I'd like to make a statement. In my last podcast, I have explained that my American lawyers in Washington have filed a 32-page document, which is a whistleblower complaint at the US Department of Justice and at FinCEN, which is the financial crime network in the United States. And therefore, there are things that I can say and things that I cannot say. And I'm sure you understand that. I just want to clarify that again, because Mr. Benta, who's a former US chief of police, always remind me before I do an interview to mention that. So my first statement is the following. Before I get to the question of the judicial review question that you have, okay? As you know, Dr. Harris and Galaxy have sued me for defamation when I raised that issue of the fraud, money laundering, and corruption in November 2023, right? So they sued me for defamation in St. Kitts and Nevis. I want people in St. Kitts and Nevis to know the following, and in all the Caribbean, that this is the best thing that happened for the Caribbean. Because they sued me for defamation, my lawyers in the United States were able to go to Florida court. I'm sure you remember the news about that. Yeah. And we obtained a court order to get the bank transaction of Caribbean Galaxy, Yingjing, Dr. Harris, Dr. Douglas, CS Partners, Sylvester Anthony, and what's his name? Farron Lawrence and Farron Lawrence Company, okay? When we won that first court, Dr. Harris challenged the order and we won again, right? Now in 2024, we only received the bank statement of, I think it was JP Morgan and Chase and Standard Chartered, if my memory is right, but we only received the bank statement of Bank of America for Les Khan. And if you remember, Mr. Mauricio, we filed the bank statement of Les Khan showing that he was paid by the CIU and by the Chinese $15 million while he was working for your government. I repeat the amount, $15 million. And he received money in the United States paid by the Chinese while he was in government. Okay? Now, what happened in St. Kitts with the fact that I provided those documents to the court, to the government of St. Kitts? Nothing. But, and this is important for your audience to know that, the main bank for the Caribbean is Bank of America, which means that every dollar comes in and out goes to Bank of America. And Bank of America has refused for months to give us the transaction of the people that have listed. So frankly, we gave up. To be honest with you, Mr. Mauricio, there is so much legal letter that you can send to Bank of America. It's a gigantic bank for them to respond. So now here's my first statement, because I'm going to make a few statements tonight, right? Early in January, a miracle happened, and my American lawyer, pursuant to the court order that we won in Florida, received all the bank transaction of all these people from Bank of America. I repeat, MSR Media is now in possession of all bank transactions for Caribbean Galaxy, Ying Jing, Denzel Douglas, Timothy Harris, CS Global Partner, Farron Lawrence and his company, Sylvester Anthony. And of course, as part of my whistleblower program, after we have analyzed those transactions, now we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars, Mr. Mauricio. That took us a long time, which is why I was very silent. After we analyzed that, we, of course, my lawyers, per my whistleblower program, have transmitted all of these transactions to the US Department of Justice and to HSI, which is the United States Homeland Security Investigation Team. Okay? So that's the statement that we like to make, right? For them to know that we're now in possession of everything. So the condos in Dubai that certain ministers have purchased, we have the bank transaction. Everything. All right? Gotcha. Let's start with that. In addition, because certain companies, such as Caribbean Galaxy or CS Global, operate in other countries, such as Grenada, Dominica, and St. Lucia, well, we also receive their transaction over there. So, Mr. Harris and Caribbean Galaxy, and people in the Caribbean have to know, when someone sues you for defamation, don't be afraid. There are tools in the United States so that you can prove what you're saying by subpoena these people. That's the first statement I would like to make. We have now all the Bank of America transaction, and the statement is, of course, they comfort every single accusation that we've made. Praise God, we didn't expect to receive those anymore. We kind of gave up on receiving those transactions, and one day, Bank of America, after a multitude attempt to get them, finally send it to us, okay? So I think that is important because it's the game changer, because people talk and talk because it's politics and protection of your friends. Bank statement, it is what it is. When you have the bank transaction that say purchase of condominiums in Dubai from certain individual, it is what it is. Bank account here, bank account there, it is what it is. And that cut to the chase, you understand? And of course, Since last time, I've introduced the bank statement of Mr. Khan, who has disappeared from the United States. He has not shown in the United States because he knows, right? And nothing happened. The government of St. Kitts have not acted upon the fact that we, MSR, have provided them the transaction of Mr. Khan, showing that he was paid by the Chinese while he was in power at the CIU, okay? Now let's go back to your question, right? What is the judicial review? And why did MSR file the judicial review? MSR makes no money, not even $1, not even the reimbursement of our legal costs to do that lawsuit. MSR have been saying what is now common knowledge all over the Caribbean, that a fraud took place in the citizenship by investment program, right? And specifically with the Chinese Galaxy Gel project. Now, what is the nature of the fraud? It's very simple. I'm going to explain it very quickly. The gel cost $30 million, and the Chinese were given the equivalent of $962 million of money of the passport, the equivalent of 22,000 passports, so that your audience can understand, right? Now, the reason that has been done is because the Chinese are then dumping your passport for a much cheaper, way under the legal price. It's called fraud, right? It's such a fraud that Prime Minister Drew and his Attorney General, the lovely Mr. Wilkin, have criminalized the underselling, right? It's such a fraud that now all the country, right, have taken measure, except with the European Union, to say that they don't sell under the legal price, right? Now, Mr. Mauricio, I'm the front of the fight, right? But the investigation and the fight that MSR have been leading is only with the help of a lot of people. And of course, I have to thank specifically in St. Kitts my lawyer, Damien Kelsick, integrity amazing, and also Mr. Dwyer Estefan, who has been an incredible inspiration in that fight, okay? Now, if you have seen the trade, and I believe I sent you the last week, with the help of a group of men and women that fight this cancer, this Chinese infiltration of the citizenship program. Last week, we have provided to certain parties evidence of fraud of a big Chinese company called Hang Seng Group, which has forced the government of Grenada to take the right stand. They did what you're supposed to do. They made a statement that that specific company, Hang Seng, was suspended and that all the application was going to be under investigation, right? So congratulations, Grenada. They did the right thing. And by the way, and I'm happy to share those WhatsApp messages with you, the head of sales of Hang Seng, the Chinese company, sent me several WhatsApp after that, the fact that they were suspended, to say, congratulations, now we're on vacation. Good job. They already made the money, right? So because he knows that it's coming from me, he knows that I'm the front head of the fight of the Chinese fraud and corruption and infiltration of the Caribbean. So I will send you the WhatsApp because I think that you know, Mr. Mauricio, that every time you ask me a question, not only I respond, but I send you immediately the documentation. Am I correct?
That's a fact. And I was just about to say to you, you know, I'm waiting for those WhatsApp.
You're going to laugh. The guys say, great, now we're on vacation because of you. Anyway, so let's go back. So I think it's important for the audience to understand that the fact that we've made that lawsuit against Terence Drew in St. Kitts and Nevis is not to make any money. Even if we win, we don't make any money. We don't even get paid for our legal costs, okay? And I would say that Mr. Kelsick, our lawyer, who has made a tremendous work, basically works almost for free because he's just, you know, he doesn't ask me for money because he knows the fight that we're meeting, and he's working really to fight for his country, okay? So that's, and I have to pay homage to him for his integrity, okay? So we just want to show the fraud and to force the government to take action to recover the money, okay? So now let's go back to your question, right? What happened? Monday morning, okay, my lawyer go ready for the trial, okay? I'm sorry, I'm taking a bit of...
That's all right. I have my island purified water here, so I'll join you. You're not going to drink by yourself tonight. I'm going to drink with you.
Good. So my lawyer, Damien Kelsick, go to the court, right? And the judge, I don't remember her name, asked my lawyer and the lawyer of the government to go to our private chambers. Okay, so not in the court, in our private chambers. Okay? And we received last week an affidavit filed by the government lawyer, okay, that confirmed what we've been saying, because as you know, we filed to the court 185 fraudulent contracts where people bought the passport for way under the legal price, right? So the government, to their credit, in their application, recognized that, in fact, out of the 185 applications that we filed, I think 153, they verified, I think, please apologize, I don't have the paper in front of me, okay? So my number are slightly off, okay? But the government recognized that indeed 153 or something like that have already been identified as that the people didn't pay the amount of money. And that's why Terence Drew decided in December to send a notice to these people, right, to pay the difference, or the passport will be deactivated, right, or canceled. I don't know the legal term that they use, but it's in a letter that I believe was published in the press. Okay.
Yes, that's
now
that circulating.
Exactly. Now we found out through the affidavit filed by the lawyer of the government. I think their name is Glenroy Bichette or something like that, right? We found out that 32 people have already admitted that, in fact, yes, they defrauded the government and didn't pay the right price, and they have paid the difference already. So thanks to MSR, your government has already collected the balance between the legal price and the Chinese scam. You understand? So I've already made money for your government, right? So the government put that in their application, and the judge explained to my lawyer, are we satisfied with that? Of course we're satisfied, because 32 people have paid already, and the government is going to be hunting the other 150 people, right? Which was the purpose of the lawsuit, right? To collect one to prove the fraud, and two, to collect the balance so that the hundreds of millions of dollars that are unaccounted for a jail that has not been built can be recovered for the government. Thank you, MSR Media. Okay, already your country has recouped 32 applications. So the judge asked Mr. Kelsik if he was satisfied. Of course, we're satisfied, but he said, we have provided to the court 185 contracts, which is a lot of work, right? But we know that it's the 5,500 applications that are fraudulent. And therefore, we want the government to commit that they will also do the same, meaning send the notice and investigate to recover the money from those 5,500. Am I being clear or am I losing you?
Very clear, very clear.
Okay. So all of that discussion takes place privately in the chamber of the judge, okay? So the lawyers of the government, Glenroy Blanchett, said we need to get the approval from the government to commit to that, right? So they called the government, which I believe it's, what's his name? Garth Wilkin, because I'm assuming that it's Garth Wilkin, but I know he's the one running the show on that thing. So I'm assuming it's Garth Wilkin, but it could be someone else in the government. And they come back and they say, we will commit, but they don't want to put names and they don't want to be too specific in the commitment, right? So my lawyer say, okay, I trust the law firm, Glenroy Blanchett, right?
Stop there. Glenroy Blanchett, I don't think is a law firm. Glenroy Blanchett is the PS, Permanent Secretary in the National Security. Glenroy is National Security.
Maybe.
PS.
So the lawyer, so he trusts the lawyer of the...
Yeah, to the lawyer.
He trusts the lawyer of the government. He said that it's a reputable law firm. And all of that, I'm not in the conversation, but I trust Mr. Kelsik's judgment because, as I said, he's a man of integrity and I trust him 1,000%. He comes out of the chamber and the judge says, so based on that commitment, would you agree to dismiss the lawsuit? Because let's face it, nobody wants that lawsuit to take place. Now, what does it mean? It means that the government, we have, because of our lawsuit, we have already told the government has already sent letter to investigate and already collected money from 32 people, and they're committing to go after the other 5,500 applications. That's the goal of the lawsuit, right? To show that there was fraud, that was acknowledged, right? Even, I believe, in one of the previous affidavits, Mr. What's his name? Martin said that he didn't know, he has no way to know how much the client have paid because you know, they pay directly Galaxy.
That was a previous PS.
Yeah. So the judge say, are you satisfied? Because that way, you know, of course we're satisfied. That means that money is starting to be collected and they're going to go and go after the 5,500 application, which was the goal of the judicial review. Now, we then received a draft, my lawyer, a draft of the court order, which was not what I was expecting. That was Monday afternoon. And then suddenly, I think early afternoon, we see a press announce from the government to say MSR withdrew their lawsuit It's over. There was nothing wrong with the CIU and with any individual associated to the government. To say that that press statement is not at all what happened is an understatement. So immediately, my lawyer, Mr. Kelsick, has notified the other party that this statement is in no way a reflection of the deal that was made, right? The verbal deal with the judge, right? And the next day they went back to the court, and my lawyer has been very clear, right? Or you make a statement that reflects the truth, which is that you're going to go after the 5,500 application, right? And how can we say that there is nothing wrong with the CIU where we have now all of their bank transactions? How can we say that there was no corruption where we have the transaction of official government advisor receiving money and minister purchasing condominiums in Dubai? It's ridiculous, you know. So instead of having because the deal that was agreed was basically a win-win, you know. We avoid a public embarrassment in St. Kitts, right? Which they don't want. And they go after the Chinese scam and get the money back for the people, right? Well, they have not changed the statement, and therefore my lawyer has instructed. I'm sorry, not instructed. My lawyer has notified the judge that we cannot accept anymore the deal, and the judge can, of course, say, well, you know, I don't care that you don't accept it. It's your prerogative. But my lawyer has already informed her that if she dismisses the case, we will refile the case immediately. So, no. The statement that has been made by the government is not at all of reflection of what happened. So this is very much an ongoing matter. And I have to tell you, it's very annoying that whoever has made that press release decided to do that, because now, look, you know, it forces me for you to call me, you know, and frankly, Mr. Morisho, I have much bigger fry to fish right now. Because as I've explained to you in this, let's step back now. So did I respond to your question?
Yes, you did, but I just want to say to you, Mr. Martin, is this. I, as a citizen of this federation, of this country,
yeah,
I know you might see some folks commenting on the thread of this podcast, whatever negative rhythm they want to thing. I would just want you to know that is not the reflection of the entire country. We, DJ Marisha, Jeffrey Marisha, the people of St. Kitts Nevis, home and abroad, appreciate what you have done for the Federation, because until your matter, until you file those cases, we wasn't getting any information. We are now getting information. Things have been moving ahead. And for me, though I did not want this embarrassment and this public draw out, I was trying to minimize it as much as possible. But sometimes they say you got to hit rock bottom before you get back up. So let's deal with it.
Look, first of all, I don't care about. It's funny because in St. Lucia, where I've invested, okay, at the demand of Terence Drew and at the demand of Timothy Harris, we have invested $38 million US in your country that we have been defrauded in the citizenship program, okay, because of this very matter. But it's funny because in St. Lucia, where we have not invested, every time I have an interview, I have thousands and thousands of people sending me private message to thank me to bring the truth to them. Okay? Now, let me tell you something. I don't care what they say and what they think, because this is now a matter way above everybody's head. This is a matter that's now way above my head. Let me make you another statement. I found out that in that lawsuit, the judicial review, you actually cannot interrogate people or crossing, you can't ask them questions like, I can't have Michael Martin or whoever was in charge or whoever and ask them questions directly. So it's I don't know what it is. It's not like in America where answer the question, you're under oath and all that, okay? So these people, they're determined for the truth not to come out, right? Because, and it would be a pity that all those bank transactions, hundreds of millions of dollars, right, that went through and disappeared, that it's all for nothing, right? I was texting with Mark Brantley this morning. We're going to talk about Mark Brantley too. I have a couple of things to say about him. He said, I was expecting to see that out of court. At court, it takes years for the people to find the truth. So instead, here's what I've done. I think I've announced that last year in November, right? We made a documentary. It's called The Men Who Sold the Caribbean to China. That documentary has a lot of the evidence, recording, the audio, video. We finished that documentary at the end of January, right? And we had already the pleasure to screen that documentary in the US Congress at the Capitol for 2 select committees at the US Congress and for other US government officials. It's basically the entire investigation. It explains who's involved, So after the people saw the documentary, they've asked to see the evidence, and so my lawyers have sent them the evidence, of course. The one that we are allowed to send, because some goes to the Department of Justice. So we're being very careful not to send evidence that could jeopardize the work of the U.S. Department of Justice, right? But so unfortunately, now they are on my territory. They are on the territory of the image, you understand? And when you have a video of Les Khan who confesses of the crime that took place, it is what it is, right? When you have, and so we made a documentary, it's called The Men, to explain what happened in the citizenship programs of the Caribbean with China, okay? That's it. During our investigation, and you have the paperwork for that, because look, this is now, that we now live in a very sensitive time politically. Secretary Rubio has arrived today in the Caribbean, and he's going to have discussion with people, the Caribbean leaders, right? Yesterday, you've seen the State Department announcement in their website that they're very concerned about the Chinese in the Caribbean. You've seen that. Everybody can go on the website of the United States State Department, specifically for the citizenship by investment program, right? That have been alarming everybody for a year. You saw the various articles New York Times, yesterday again, the Miami Herald. So it's now a very sensitive subject, and it's a subject that, from my understanding, is now handled by the State Department. And of course, I have spoken to the State Department on several occasions, right? Because they wanted to understand what we found out, right? And for instance, Mr. Mauricio, you can confirm to your audience that you have those evidence. We have discovered two very disturbing things. Number one, the Chinese have created in Macau a company called Skipper. Now, what is Skipper in your country, Mr. Mauricio? Why don't you tell your audience what is Skipper for the one that don't know?
I prefer you make that presentation, Mr.
It is the
Martin.
St. Kitts and Nevis promotion agency, and it is the company, the agency, that when you get a certification to be a promoter or benefactor or whatever in the citizenship program, you receive a letter from Skipper, right?
And you receive one before.
Of course, I have two.
That's why I ask you. That's why I prefer you explain it, because you is a beneficiary.
Yeah, of course. So, maybe your audience, right, can wonder, why would Caribbean Galaxy create in Macau a company with the same name of your government agency, and so it's a Macau company with an address in St. Lucia? I don't know. I don't know the response to that, right? What we do know is we have the bank transaction of that company, okay? Now, the other very disturbing discovery that we've made is that the Chinese Caribbean Galaxy have created a fake due diligence company for the applicant in Hong Kong. We have the corporate record and we have the bank transaction. Okay? Now, everything that we've discovered, when we discovered them in real time, we always send them to Prime Minister Drew and to Attorney General Garth Wilkin. We have every single email. We have never received a response. Those documents are now with the US Department of Justice, and they are more qualified than me, along with HSI, Homeland Security, to understand why the Chinese felt that they had to create a fake due diligence company for their passport applicant. So those two things are quite disturbing, I must say, right? And President Trump and Secretary Rubio, and I respect that very much, that about them, are very concerned, as they stated, about the borders, about who comes in and out of the United States. You know that, I know that. They made it very clear, right? So it is above my pedigree. Me, I've made a documentary. I gave numbers, I gave bank account numbers, I gave in my documentary, and it is not for release until I'm being told that I can release it to the public. And frankly, I don't think that the public cares to see what's in it. Right now, it's only being screened within the US government sphere, and that's where it's going to be until I'm told that I can share it to the public, even though I don't think that the public care to know or to see the evidence as part of a documentary.
I think you're wrong there, Mr. Martinez.
I don't think so, sir. I don't think so.
I am part of the public and I care to say it. And I know several people who care to say it. So
no, nobody wants to know. And I'm going to tell you something about Mark Brantley, right? I felt that someone that is a politician of the country should come to the Capitol at the Congress to see it. Someone from St. Kitts and Nevis, right? Now, obviously, Mark and I, we have a relationship. People assume that this whole case was a conspiracy. People are just so stupid. They call it conspiracy to avoid the truth. But now, as I said, we have all their bank transactions, every single one of them, right? And when I mean I gave them to the US Department of Justice, right? I want to know why certain government advisor, certain consultant, certain minister have made so much money. How can they afford to buy these things? Right? Because I think that I know why. We know why already, right? So if the government wants to play game with me, and do you remember, Mr. Mauricio, that the prime minister of your country came in front of his reporter and said that I went to a meeting to shake him down, right? You remember that? Except that I haven't been in St. Kitts and Nevis for 2 years.
No, he didn't say you went to shake him down. I think the statement was someone representing you.
Yes. And thank God, and I didn't know that at the time, you were in the meeting and you called me because you're an American citizen. You know what it means to lie.
No, I didn't call you. You reached out to me to find out if
I reached out to you, yes, and I called you.
And I said to you, yes, I was in that meeting.
And you confirmed that there was absolutely no shakedown and that you didn't know why the Prime Minister said that.
I confirm that the words that was used, I didn't hear those words. So basically, I don't have any reason to lie on anyone. I don't have anything to gain out of this whole matter, except two things. I said to you privately, and I'm going to say it to you publicly.
Yeah.
There are some investors out there that took investors' money to do some project.
Yeah.
One is Mr. Sanford, who had the sticky cricket wicket wherever. He's in prison now for his investors' money. And there's another gentleman, Madoff, who is in prison for his investors' money.
Yeah.
I put you in that same category that you reach out to investors to invest in whatever project in St. Kitts. You all bought the OTI and whatever with the expectation to make back your money from the CBI and whatever.
Of course.
And for you to get X amount of shares at the sale of $250,000 per share, while a prison project that costs less is getting 5,500 passport, I think is a bad deal. And this is where I stand for right. I don't support wrong. I stand for right. And this is where I want to get to the bottom of this thing, Mr. Martinez, because no matter what,
Mr. Mauricio, you are not going to get to the bottom of this thing in St. Kitts, right? Two things are happening. One is in the US through my whistleblower thing, which, by the way, Garth Wilking knows that I've provided all the evidence to Homeland Security and the Department of Justice since July 2023, right? Except that we received the bulk of the evidence at the end of 2024, and now the big Christmas tree of Bank of America happened in mid-January 2025, right? Which has been a major breakthrough for us, right? it's going to come from America, from the whatever the U.S. government is doing. It's going to come because I think that the State Department in their website have made it clear yesterday that they're concerned about what China is doing in the CBI. And it's going to come out also because we dropped the RICO case because the politicians have claimed diplomatic immunity. So we have learned from that, and very soon another civil action, because now that we have analyzed the bank statement, Mr. Mauricio, we have discovered a web of people that we had no idea were involved. Banks, individuals, that we had no idea that were involved. A lot of people, lots of people. So now we our lawyers are working very hard on a new action that we will bring shortly, I think within a month, right? Because I'm sorry, but I refuse to I've been duped, invest in the country, right? Our total investment is $38 million, right? You should have seen when Drew was, please, Philippe, buy the hotel, please make the movies, or Timothy Harris, right? The same. And then after that, they have the audacity to call me a fraudster. So believe me, by the end of that process, a lot of people will be exposed, especially, as I said, now that we have all the Bank of America transaction in our possession, and more important, since we have transmitted them to Homeland Security and to the U.S. Department of Justice as part of my whistleblower. And we've made discovery, Mr. Mauricio, that I'm not allowed to say, but it shows how careless and irresponsible certain people have been.
It's really, by the way, back to the conversation earlier, there's some folks online that agrees with me that they want to see that documentary. So
they don't want, I'm telling you, the same people are insulting me in St. Kitts. I am disgusted. And by the way, Mr. Wally Wilkins, I have a notice for him. For the past year, he has, because we know that he's working really, is the pen of Timothy Harris, right? My American lawyers have been keeping a track and a print of every single thing where he has insulted me or lied about things like that we bought the hotel for $2 million. So unless he withdraw every article that he has insulted me or said lie about MSR, he will be sued for an astronomical amount of money because he performs. He's not a real media. He's a Facebook working for Mr. Timothy Harris. He will be sued. It is Facebook is the US platform. Google is whatever his thing is a US company. I am in the US. He's being put on notice, and my lawyers in the United States will file a lawsuit against him for an astronomical amount of money or damages because there is some, all that. This is the problem you have in your country. You got no press, right? What you have is sensationalism. Here we go, boom, 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 ridiculous, right? And that's very disturbing. So now that we have the bank transaction from Bank of America, Mr. Wallis, you're notified. You got 48 hours. After that, face U.S. court in a way that in a lawsuit that's going to be massive in damages.
Mr. Martinez, you started speaking about Mark Brantley. I don't know if you finished your statement where he's concerned. You say you and him was WhatsApping earlier today?
Yes. So I invited Mark Brantley because, I keep him updated. He doesn't want to know. He doesn't want to go near that thing. And I say, Mark, we made a documentary. Would you like to come to DC as a guest at the Congress, at the Capitol? It's a big day because we had 2 screenings, one for one committee specifically and one for another US Congress committee. And he said that he couldn't, that he had a conflicted schedule, which is why if the politicians have no interest to see the evidence in a documentary, why would I think that the people want to see the documentary, right? The people have decided that because unfortunately you don't have an opposition in St. Kitts, as you know, there's no opposition, So it's not in St. Lucia. In St. Lucia, you have an opposition, right? And also because, you should know that the Financial Times is making a big story. They've been investigating this for several months. So they're making a huge story, which is going to come out before they told me probably in 2 or 3 months, right? And they've been calling everybody, and they are interrogating me at least 2 hours every week, right? And I had to remind Mark. I say, Mark, we have a good relationship with you, but you're the one that has, we were going to make only 2 movies in St. Kitts and Nevis and leave, right? But because we created so much jobs and because we have made so much good publicity for the films, for the country, you're the one that's met several times with our investors and told them, you guys have to qualify for the CBI. And we met with Les Khan and you've helped us to make the application. So when I see the people say, I don't know, this is a matter now that is in the hands of very important people. Me, I'm just a film producer. I'm a small guy, right? So I made a documentary that puts, it's very difficult when you have in a documentary Les Khan, the head of the Chinese company, the Chinese, right? When he says, this is who I paid off, this is who was paid off, this is why. When he says, Miss Yingjing, I think she's possibly a spy. That's not me, Mr. Morisot. We have that on camera, which allows me to give another message to another gentleman. I don't know his name, right? Mr. Altenborough, or something like that. Olsborough, or whatever he is. Mr. Alsborough, whatever his name is, right? If you recall, when I announced the fact that Prime Minister Drew, despite all the good intention, we found out that he has processed a lot of the Galaxy application, right? So the next day, he canceled his press conference, and then he came in front of the press and he said, Mr. Martinez is a fraudster. And then the next day, magically, appeared a deep fake AI that Mr. Alborough, or whatever his name is, was playing on Freedom Radio, right? I like to say to Freedom Radio that you are a nice organization, and I've told my lawyers not to sue you in the United States because, I respect the work that you do, but that deep fake AI is now the subject of an investigation. It's in the hands of the United States law enforcement. And we are now going to look at Mr. Alborough, where that, what's his name? Altenborough?
Mr. Martinez, in St. Kitts, when they send you a letter,
yeah,
they're asking for 250,000 in 21 days.
Yeah.
I can't afford $50 in 21 days, so I wouldn't give you that today.
Yeah. Okay. So whatever his name is, right? We are now investigating how he got that fake AI, because obviously it was immediately the analysis was made that it was a gross fake AI. But it's amazing how these people will go to such a level to hide and protect the few people that have made so much money out of the CBI program in overseas in the Middle East, right? So I've got a message for them. I now have all your bank transactions and all of your condominium that you bought in Dubai. Keep playing with me.
The situation here is this. I have
the situation is that if the hello,
yeah, you turn your camera around. Yeah, good. That's good.
I'm sorry. No, it's not that. I was getting a call from St. Lucia because a lot of is happening in St. Lucia as well in the fight of corruption. So, bottom line is, the government here in St. Kitts has not taken a public stand against the Chinese Caribbean Galaxy, even though they know that they committed fraud, right? I don't care. I don't want to talk to them anymore. My job is to do what I got to do in America, right? To give the information, and it's up to the United States government to analyze everything and do whatever, or not do, but I don't think that we are past that stage now, to do whatever they're going to do. You know, you don't ask someone to invest in your country, to promote the country the way we've done it with the movie, and then turn around and defraud him and then say, oh, he's a fraudster. You picked up the wrong guy to do that, because I'm going to take that to the finish line.
That's a movie.
Yeah. Oh, that's another announcement that I'm going to make to you, my friend, tonight. Right? And by the way, I've asked the great Attorney General of Wilkin of St. Kitts and Nevis, right? I say, Garth, go to meet the Department of Justice. I can set up a meeting for you. A lot of people have done that. I've set up a lot of meetings for them. The leader of the opposition in St. Lucia, he has said in his press conference that I've introduced him to the trial attorney and, in DC, and he went and he met them, right? But Garth Wilkin, so he plays with me, he likes to play game. We're going to take this fight to the finish line because too much money have disappeared. Number one, that's your problem, but your people, you obviously don't care about that, the fact that you've been defrauded by the Chinese. So that's your problem. Me, I'm gonna hunt them until I get our investment back. We've been defrauded, right? And I don't care which minister. We know where their money is. We know the condominium that they bought in Dubai. We have the bank transaction, so we will expose them.
Mr. Martinez, just for background purposes, we are now in 2025. You made your way to to the Federation by way of Nevis, I guess, to the connection of Premier Brantley. I think that's what you
Yeah,
said previously.
yeah.
Um,
And I like him. I like Mark. Okay. I was a little bit disappointed because you know that he made the video where he said that that the passports were sold like sugar cake, right?
yeah,
Remember that video?
yes, but it was not a video, it was his podcast.
His podcast, yes, his
Right?
podcast, right?
Right.
Which when I saw that, and he explained that it was like selling cocaine. Please, go to see the postcard. We have it. It's part of the evidence, right? And I'm like, Mark, if you knew, you could have stood up in the cabinet and say, hey, this is illegal. I'm resigning. Okay. So I like Mark. He's a friend. And, we did a good partnership for the films in Nevis. We did movies. We promoted the island. But people have to have a strong memory very fast. So he declined to come because he said that he had a schedule busy or whatever. Bon, so which is why, but by the way, I understand because Mr. Mauricio, we gave 15 million US dollar of bank transaction received by Les Kahn, working for you, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. 15 million. Can you tell me which employees worked for a government agency and got 15 US million? Like, name me one.
I am trying to get some clarity here as to you came into Nevis in which year? 2021?
I think we arrived January 21. Right?
Okay. And throughout that period when I was fighting with the government about their COVID restriction and all this stuff, you was the big honcho in the Federation. The Mesa Media, this big movie giant and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And it went from you being in Nevis, you came across to St. Kitts, big movie giant, government change, you're the big movie giant. How we get to where how we get here? How we got here?
Because it's very simple, right? We were leaving, right? Made 2 movies and we were leaving. And they said, no, please don't leave, right? Les Kahn, Timothy, Len Harris, we want to make you part of the CBI program because, and I don't know if I mentioned that to you before, but Timothy and Len Harris asked us to buy Belmont Farm, right? So I brought my investors, right? And we couldn't buy Belmont Farm. It's Belmont Farm. It's the
Kittitian Hill.
Because there was too many lawsuits, and I think that they told us that they had $5 million debt, and then a week later, the 5 million became 45 million. So at the end of the day, Timothy Harris brought his brother Len, who was the head of corporation, Whitegate, yeah. And we made a contract to buy with them together, I think it was 500 acres, right? To turn it into a multi-billion dollar Hollywood studio with Hollywood stars. I had 5 already big movie stars that wanted to be part of the project. We had big Hollywood agents that flew. And how we got there is, so we signed the contract with the government, right? And the total value of construction of the project was $1 billion, right? Like to build the houses, the studio, like ultra luxury facing St. Barth and all that, right? And the government, if I remember well, were committing that we were going to get 1,000 units, right? 1,000 shares, right? So $1 billion investment and 1,000 shares, which is the equivalent of $200 million, right? So great, we had the money to do it. The investors were lined up, and now Timothy and Mark have the fallout with Sean Richards, and the campaign starts. Now, honestly, at the time, I was just directing movie after movie, so I didn't have the time to do due diligence on the CBI, right? And then when the campaign started, Mark Brantley talked about the scandal of 5,500 shares, right, which is 22,000 passports, new citizens, in the media. Now, I'm not stupid, okay? If you say in the media, and Mark said that, Sean Richards said that the jail cost $30 million, and you're giving $1 billion of a passport, and you sign a contract with me for $1 billion complex, $200 million. So I say, ooh, there is something wrong here. And that's how we started to investigate it. And then we found out about the underselling. Then we found out about the corruption. And then we found something much deeper and much darker, which I'm not at the liberty to share.
Well, just for clarity for the online viewers, Mr. Martinez, I want the online viewers to know, one, this podcast this evening, I reached out to you and invited you here to clarify this matter. So I don't want folks to think that you called me to come on here to give any information. I'm the one that reached out to you.
I don't care, okay? My actions now in the United States. You asked me to come because you wanted to have some clarification. I don't care. I know that there is no opposition in St. Kitts and Nevis, and unfortunately, I have the bank transaction of all these people now, right? So it's not important what I think. What's important is what the U.S. Department of Justice will make out of those bank transactions. The rest is irrelevant. What the people that are writing on this Facebook, I could care less. I believe the Chinese have infiltrated this. I brought the evidence to the US. The US can check, investigate, and decide whether there is something or there is not something.
So the reality is, for the benefit of the people in a nutshell, for the folks that are spreading the rumors that this matter is all over and done with, finito, is not true.
The problem is that it's not rumors. The government has made a statement saying that.
Is it a false statement?
Listen, I'm responsible to what I say. What my lawyer told me is that they're committing to investigate. They've already done the thing for the investigation for the 185. Good job, wonderful. It took Martinez to do that. They've already collected the money from 32 people, and I was told that they have to investigate the balance of the 5,500 share of Galaxy. But the statement that they've made is it's over, there is no problem. So I don't know who made that statement, but if they want to come to Washington and we sit down together with the law enforcement and we can look at the bank statement, I don't think how I could withdraw something saying that there is nothing wrong. That's right? Where they themselves have admitted that there was fraudulent application. The government admitted that. No, this is, look, it could have been done. This whole thing could have been finished on Monday, right? Because
this whole thing could have been finished last year.
Yes, of course, but it could have been done on Monday. All they had to do was a press statement to say MSR brought us evidence and we acted upon those evidence and we were able to collect X amount of dollars, and we're not going to do that for the rest of the truth. The truth. And MSR is moving on from this lawsuit so that we can, and that was the end of it. But someone had the idea to make a statement that is not a reflect of what was discussed in the judge chambers. So now we're going to be back to square one. Now the judge is going to decide if she wants to continue the trial or not. And if she doesn't, Damien Kelsick will refile the lawsuit, right? But again, I'm sorry to say, Mr. Mauricio, but because I know the magnitude of what's behind, forget the corruption, people took money, forget about the fraud. There is a much bigger problem, right? I'm not able to discuss that problem. It has to be handled.
You know what is amazing? We got some very special people in our beloved federation.
Yeah.
On a daily basis, you will hear some of them on social media.
Yeah.
Saying there is no opposition in our federal parliament because the premier, who is the leader of the opposition, the loyal leader, His Majesty representative in the opposition. The people of this federation, they say daily, weekly, that there's no opposition. But now you are repeating what they say. Some of them have a problem. Some of them have a problem with it.
Mr. Mauricio.
They say it themselves.
Mr. Mauricio, we had a meeting, and there was a meeting with the leader of the opposition about the subject of the fraud, right? Because you have to understand, okay, the morons that don't want to understand, it's their problem, right? But you have more citizens on paper than the number of people that you have.
Right.
And these people have not paid the legal amount, so you didn't even get the money, right? You got a portion of that money, right? You heard the Prime Minister saying in Parliament that he doesn't know where $400 million went, right? You played the video in one of your program, right? In other islands, because I'm the expert in that fraud with our team, all the leaders of the opposition are calling me to, how do you think Grenada got the information about the Chinese company, right? But Grenada took a stand. Well, they named the company. Now, have you heard the government, who has evidence in their hand, saying, Galaxy, you're blacklisted, and we're investigating you? No, it's never going to happen, right? Mr. Khan, we provided to the court of your country $15 million with money paid while he was working by the Chinese, right? Did the government call him? Say, hey, we got those bank statements here. Explain yourself. Why were you paid by the Chinese while you were the head of the CIU? And what's all that money? Sorry. What is that? So if the people don't, so we know that in St. Kitts and Nevis, right, people are focusing on the petty politique instead of the big issue. And the big issue, I'm not allowed to talk about it, so I will not. And it's handled that people that handle those type of situation on the government level. Me, I'm just a film producer, and I made a documentary. And I have been actually offered to make a movie about this whole venture because, we've been living with that for 2 years. So they actually would like us to shoot the movie in August.
Brother Martinez, I want to say to you, thanks for taking the time out this evening to come and clarify some stuff. It opened up my eyes to a lot of stuff. I understand there are many things that you cannot speak about because they are ongoing matters.
Yeah.
I understand the document.
They're not ongoing matter right now. The only legal matter it's only the judicial review. It's no big deal. What's important is to see what the Homeland Security and the U.S. Department of Justice, what will be their conclusion now that we gave them that massive element a few weeks ago about the money. But if nobody has anything to hide, then they can come to DC. We can sit down, and I can introduce them to the feds, and they can discuss with them. You know, Mr. Khan, all those people, Ying Jing, they can come to the US anytime they want, and whoever has all that money.
Anyway, the point I was trying to make is that
yes,
in light of everything, I want to thank you for being the person that has not only come to speak with me, but provide the documentation, which I know the general public does not have and I cannot share with them, but I can be that individual that can speak truth to power and confirm the things that you're speaking on.
For instance, please, I only give you things that, you know. Did I give you the company records of Skipa in Macau?
No.
Huh?
No.
What do you mean no?
No.
This morning. Oh, okay.
Mr. Martinez, I would prefer.
Okay.
I would prefer.
Yes, okay. No, I didn't give you any.
You did not. I would prefer.
I did not. Okay.
We'll leave it at that.
So right? delete.
The general public does not have. I have not seen the information that I saw. Yeah. I am satisfied.
Yeah.
And I'm appreciative of you for coming to light and do what you did, because hadn't you filed those cases and do what you had to do, I would have been in the last thing that you're a fake, you're just a fraudster like some of them is saying. I know better.
Yeah.
I know better. So what I'm going to do at this point, there's a good song there. I don't know if you know what Calypso is, but there's a lovely song there about a good citizen. I think this reflects you and it reflects me. So I want to drop that track, and once it's finished, I'm going to give you a chance to have your closing. It's now 7:43. We've been talking for a while. I intend to close out at 8 p.m. and expect me to reach out to you again, because as information becomes available, I really would appreciate you making the time.
Yes, and please don't be offended if I've given already the bank statement of Lescan to the government. Nothing happened. So I have no intention to share anything with them or anything anymore. It's now in the hand of the US. Let's just wait what the Department of Justice makes out of the evidence that I provided.
Okay, so let's drop this track. Let's bounce. You know how to dance to Calypso? Let's dance to this one.
When does someone really become a good citizen? I'd like to know for sure. Why, when the ordinary man disagrees with the establishment, they call it treason? Why should they persecute a brother for seeking black power? Don't they know a blind man could see that this is blatant hypocrisy? The real traitors and them are all high in society. Yet the government protecting all of them and penalizing you and me. And in a million different ways they violate the law. It's the same good no good bastards who oppress the poor. They sell in black market, making excess profit, paying a starvation salary. These good citizens are the architects of economic slavery.
say you have the right to criticize, but then you are victimized, and without any reason. Many a time you find yourself politically paralyzed by that same good citizen. Yet these fakes and phonies enjoy a long life of luxury while they spread corruption throughout the country. When they should be arrested, they're protected and respected in the society, and in a million different ways they violate the law. It's the same good no good bastards who oppress the poor with a false declaration, tax evasion, defrauding customs duty. These good citizens are the architects of economic slavery.
The mighty sparrow, the good citizen.
In lust and greed and fraud and strife, they specialize. Double deals, they idolize. If you're brave enough to open your mouth and criticize, one time you are ostracized and or victimized. Still they go unpunished and unaccused of any crime, while on the backs of the ordinary man these vultures climb. They use the riches and the power, make a mockery of the law, and have the law protect them same time. In a million different ways they violate the law. It's the same good no good bastards who oppress the poor. They controlling bootlegging, dope peddling, prostitution and piracy. These good citizens are the architects of economic slavery.
Yeah, Brother Martinez, that track is by the Mighty Sparrow, originally out of Grenada, but by way of Trinidad and Tobago. Lovely song, lyrics fit exactly the conversation that we are having.
Well, listen, thank you for inviting me. I think that we live in a very interesting time. The election of President Trump and the appointment of Secretary Rubio as Secretary of State is a tremendous opportunity for the Caribbean. The statement that came out of the State Department yesterday about the CBI and China is very comforting, that they take this matter very seriously. There are opportunities to be done. There are opportunities to clean what took place, and hopefully, look, you know what the problem is, Mr. Mauricio? Trying to hide things never works. Because at the end of the day, one day, you know, look, like I said, we never expected anymore to receive the bank statement of Bank of America. You know, you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars, you know, and because of CS Global bank transaction, we receive lots of transactions from Grenada and St. Dominica, and then we receive from lawyers. And I mean, it took a vast amount of time and people to analyze each one of those transactions. And, you know, but you realize that this whole thing needs to be clean. I mean, you know, so the State Department, I'm not the U.S. government. I'm just a little movie producer. The State Department has set out a new agenda about China in the Caribbean. I suggest, and that's why I'm giving the message. What is the message I'm giving you tonight? Gentlemen, we have all your bank transactions now. We know where the money is, right? Stop playing with us. Please, stop playing with us. And not only we have them, but we give them to the US Department of Justice and to Homeland Security. So let's be humble, right? Let's be humble. Let's not pretend, because a lot went on. All I'm going to say is a lot of things went on. So thank you for your time. If you do come to DC and we have another screening at the US Congress, you're welcome. And by the way, I hope you don't believe that I don't like Mark Brantley. I do like Mark Brantley, right? But memory, all right? Because I have a strong memory and I keep everything.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
I appreciate the clarity. Appreciate the clarity. Like I said, anytime there's a need, I'll be reaching out to you. I hope you're available to clarify, because I'm staying with this to the end. I do intend to see this to the end.
It's the end is not going to happen in St. Kitts and Nevis. Believe me, nobody wants to know in St. Kitts and Nevis what happened. It's happening right now in government expert, Congress, that they ask documents and we give them documents, and they ask this and we provide them. Sure. Let them do their work. Okay. Thank you.
That. Bye-bye. All right, sir. Yes, my good people, that was Mr. Philippe Martinez. Chatting with him for a bit, getting some updates, and this review that they said was withdrawn. As you heard him said, everything is still unseen until some decision is made by him, his attorney, the judge who is dealing with that case. We are going to be running a little bit over time this evening, not much, only because my closing song is about 7 minutes, 22 seconds, and I cannot close this podcast out without giving you, the good people, an update and my good friend, Brother Cance Edwards, a.k.a. the Buffalo Soldier, a.k.a. Lord Black. Now, we are facing this evening, Wednesday, March 26, 2025, and the days are counting, the weeks are mounting, the months are mounting, and I am still yet to get any satisfaction, any satisfactory information to ease up. So I got to continue. Today, March 26, make 238 days since Brother Cance Edwards went missing on August 1st, 2024. That's 238 days since he went missing. 230 days since he was found dead in a gut up in Sadler's Mountain. 218 days since his funeral. More than 28 weeks since letters was written to the Department of Health. I have had verbal conversation, but no written communication in return. I have spoken with Prime Minister Joe, I've spoken with the CMO and the PS, who both confirmed that there's some regulation that has been put in place for the homes and whatever. I have yet to hear from the police department, from the family, with any confirmation that they have received communication from Department of Health, Department of Aging and Disability, the police, and these reports. Now, I don't think that it should take this long for the police to come up with something to the family. I don't see what's going on. The DPP, I'm calling on the DPP. I have not seen anything from them either. As Mr. Martinez said about his matter will end someplace, but not in St. Kitts, because the people in St. Kitts seem like they don't care about wrong and right. It's a lawless country. But we're going to get to the bottom of this Cance matter. Cance, according to the family of Cance, I understand Cance was living in Middle Island in his home, where a doctor visited him weekly or monthly and give him his checkup. That doctor is the doctor that recommended to the family that he couldn't be on his own and needed around-the-clock care. So he was placed in this home in Sadlers, a home that allowed him to traverse the area without any kind of monitoring device or any monitors, personnel, whatever. And he left. I don't know if it's the first time he left, But on the 1st of um, August 2024, he went missing, never came back, found dead 9 days later. The conditions was very bad when we found him up there. We had that whole period was lightning, thunder, and rain. And people in St. Kitts today still telling me they weren't aware of the matter until they spoke to me, until they heard it on this podcast. They're not aware of it. People in government telling me they're not aware. People in the DPP office said they weren't aware. So I want to know what they discuss in cabinet on a Monday evening. What Monday morning, whatever. What they discuss in the office there at the DPP office. You know. So my good people, it's now 4 minutes before the 8 o'clock hour. And like I said, what keeps me going is my vitamin here. Island Purified Water. The good water people there in Newton Ground, Main Street, Newton Ground, St. Kitts. I want to thank Brother Powell and his team for taking care of the DJ. But without any further ado, I'm going to leave the rest of my topics for this evening until next week. And just before I drop the unofficial anthem of our beloved Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, I just want to remind you good folks over there in the UK that may be listening about my sister's funeral next Thursday there in Birmingham. So let me try and find this flyer and give a quick update to Sister Sylvia funeral information there in the UK. So join us to celebrate the life of Sylvia Hutchinson. Thursday, 3rd April 2025 at 11:45 a.m. at the Aston Parish Church, Witten Lane, B6, 6QA. That's in the UK. Interment at 2 p.m. at the Handsworth Cemetery, Axel Road, Birmingham. That's in Handsworth. B, the zip, the postcode is B218JT. And they're asking that the persons coming to show their respect to wear something purple. There will be a reception following the funeral. I would leave that for the people who attend the church service or the burial for Sister Sylvia. So that's next Thursday, April 3rd, there in the UK. I give my condolences to Sister Jennifer, Brother Clive, Jermaine, and the rest of the family, and the passing of Sister Sylvia. I look forward to seeing you guys next Wednesday, same place, same time. I may be coming to you from a different time zone, but the same time, St. Kitts Nevis time, 6 to 8 p.m., our local time here. I want to thank all your online viewers for logging on this evening and participating in the conversation. Until such time, take a listen to the late great King Iro. Let us just arise and represent our country, my good people.
Your country dying and never lend a helping hand. Could you see your children's future dwindling, creating much disillusion? Or would we watch on idly, disregarding our self-sufficiency? Maladministration reigning all and no. I said no, not at all. building a brand new nation. We'll move on together hand in hand. Rise, citizens, arise. The country is yours, all yours, still yours. Would you assist building a wall so massive or a bridge? Don't care how small, as one tends to divide our people, the other unite us all. Unambitious men just cannot be a part of this community. Displaying selfishness, a total lack of interest. No, I said no, not at all. Citizens, let's unite and stand up for rights, all our lives and our lives. Let us reintegrate and correct our mistakes. Reunification, building a brand new nation. We move on together hand in hand. Rise, citizens, arise. The country is yours, all yours, still yours. Can your conscience be clear? Indulging corruption or misusing public office, being accused of unemployment and crimes, or disrupting a citizen's peace. Oh, my country in this harmony, separated politically. Hatred for a brother, cannot love each other. No, I say no, not at all. Citizens, let's unite and stand up for rights, all our lives and our lives. Let us reintegrate and correct our mistakes. Reunification, building a brand new nation. We'll move on together hand in hand. So rise, citizens, arise. The country is yours, all yours, still yours.
Yes, my good people, and that brings us to the close of another lovely evening here, the DJ Maurice Experience. I look forward to having you again next week, same place, same time. For those of you